What can the government do right now to stop bioterror attacks? The National Academy of Sciences has issued a blueprint for using technology to prevent terror attacks or reduce the damage. Some of the bioterror tips include control and accounting for nuclear weapons and materials, ensure production of vaccines, design and install security systems for all transportation, improve security and physical protection for the power grid, and deploying state-of-the-art technology for emergency responders. The Bush administration is quick to point out it's approved $2.9 billion for public health, a tenfold increase in funding for bioterror readiness. But as MSNBC's Jim Bunn tells us, money alone is not the answer. Jim joins us now from New York City with this reality check. Jim, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lester. The most obvious scar of terrorism in America is the skyline of New York City, the hole in that skyline where the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center once stood. But we need to remember this city was also a target of a bioterror attack last October. It was anthrax. Now here's a reality check for you. If there's another bioterror attack in this country, this may be the safest city for it to happen in. First, it was the unthinkable. Then, our worst nightmare.
The source of this infection remains a mystery. The FBI is now investigating it as a criminal matter.
But it wasn't just reports of anthrax. At first, officials didn't even realize what was happening.
We do know that he drank water out of a stream when he was traveling to North Carolina last week.
Since then, there has been a response, but much of it focused on security measures to stop an attack. The reality is, some say, that's not enough.
People think you can prevent this, and you really can't prevent a bioterrorism attack, and therefore you have to shift your whole strategy to be a very efficient first responder. So you have to have a beautiful union between local and regional law enforcement officers, but the authority has to be in the hands of the health people, who are the only ones who know what's going on.
Is that happening?
That has not happened.
What has happened is local hospitals around the country taking matters into their own hands. Here at Washington Hospital Center, Emergency Room Chief Dr. Mark Smith says they're much better able to take care of bioterror patients.
I would rate our capacity to take care of ill and injured patients on a scale of 1 to 10, a 10.
But there's a problem when it comes to communicating with other health agencies in detecting a bioterror attack.
With respect to the transmission of information, I'd say we're probably at about a 2.
It's kind of scary.
That is scary.
The irony is that within his own hospital, he can actually map cases of any condition being reported to the ER. He can see patterns, and he can isolate where cases are coming from.
Everybody who came with an anthrax complaint, we're able to flag and also record key information about that, where they worked.
Only in Salt Lake City, during the Winter Olympics, was a similar program of real-time tracking put into place, allowing health authorities to see what was happening at several hospitals simultaneously. Here in New York City, yet another example of how this real-time monitoring can help detect a bioterror attack. A study here showed that when tracking purchases at pharmacies, city workers calling in sick, and conditions being reported to emergency rooms, when all three increase at the same time, something's up. Here's a good example of what that something up could be. It could be a series of people coming in with respiratory complaints in emergency rooms, people calling in sick because of a cough at work, and people getting prescription medications or over-the-counter medications because they're having respiratory problems. If that's the case and they see it happening in one area, that can tell them that something's happening soon enough that they can begin to check these cases and see if there's something in common with them. And if it's a bioterror attack, they can know sooner, treat patients sooner, and perhaps even limit the spread. Lester?
Jim Bunn. Jim, thanks very much. Coming up, Rosie O'Donnell taking pot shots at Michael Jackson and former President Clinton.